the Dumble and Tumbleweeds. As the vault door opens, hey everybody, what's going on? We're here. We're live. It's a Wednesday. It's a painting stream. It's the first of many. I hope you enjoy stopping by. Let me know in the chats if you're here, how you're doing, all that good stuff. And we're gonna have ourselves a time. Let's get some paint jams going. Thank you for showing up, all of you who are here today. Chip Parker, good to see ya. Good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping by. We're gonna get things going here. Just to make sure all the audio levels are sounding good. Let me know how things are sounding as we fire up. I can get the audio of the backing tracks up or down if the mic's okay. And we're gonna get going. Paint jams. Craig Steinoff. Paint jams. You said it. We're coming in hot. Let me just make sure I got myself in my headphones. We're doing good. So, thank you all for tuning in to this first of many weekly live streams. At least that's the plan. Proof of concept. Oh, I'm echoing a bit. Thank you for the heads up there, Craig. Let's see. Let me know if that fixed it. Haha, good man, better. That's what we're doing. Alan Henry, yo, good to see ya. Thanks for stopping by. So, what are we doing? It's a big question we got on the go here. The last couple of live streams you would have seen, the painting streams we did were a bit of a proof of concept for what's going on right now, which is going to be weekly streams. Every Wednesday, we're aiming for around this time, maybe a little bit later, maybe a little bit earlier, depending on my actual work schedule. But I decided that we're going to kick off this series by, rather than just painting one mini at a time like I've done on the previous streams, we're going to do week by week, bit by bit. We're going to be chipping away at this monstrosity, Swan. How epic is this mini? It's been sitting on my desk, staring me in the face for months now, and I've been slowly working my way up to it, and it's time to go. And I figure, what better time to tackle the largest miniature and probably the most detailed thing I've ever painted than live, where I can fuck up in front of tens of people, with all 7 of you at the moment. So at least I don't feel so bad about that. But we're gonna jump in to this guy, and I'm not gonna lie, gang, this is intimidating. I've been thinking about this for the last week, about sort of where to go, how to get going on this guy, and I'm still at a loss a bit. I'll kind of walk you through where my head's at on this. The concept art, actually, I'll pull it up and throw it up here in a second. The concept art of it, from both the game concept art and then sort of the mini box art are pretty similar in that the mini was sort of envisioned off that original artwork. So it's a little wild and very Fallout 4 in its look on the box art, which I'll pull it up here so we can take a look and see what I'm talking about here. So my thought is we're going to start pretty brown with this guy, and we'll pull up the Modifius image as our base image here. Oh, and we'll get that. Oh my goodness, here we go. And we're gonna dig in, and I think the best plan of attack here is to start as intimidating as it is with the skin. It's either gonna be the skin that we start on today or the boat. So I'm curious to see what the chat would like us to begin with. So many details. Like my thought process on this was, I'll just work my way from top down from the model on the details, but then that skin's going to be such a tricky wicket. So I think it's going to be either the skin or the boat. So let me know what you think. I mean, either one is going to be a good way to go. But we'll pull up the official one here, Swan, because I had it in my image database ready to go for this specific occasion. We'll just pop it into the chat here so we can kind of take a look at it while we're going, because yeah, it's a beast. in more ways than one. So you can see we've got our little Swanny boy here. Just resize him. So you can see that that skin tone on the official box art is very brown. So my thought process here is start with a dark brown, or sorry, medium brown, I should say. It's British uniform, mixed in with this cultist robes, which is a pretty sort of dark greeny brown to begin with. Use that as our sort of shadow base tone, and then just slowly blend up with greens on greens on greens on greens. And then the secret weapon, I think, in this model is actually going to be yellow, mixing in a little bit of yellow with every green as we go. Now, I'm pulling the cart way before the horse on this, but this is my weird recipe mixture for super mutant skin with a more brown to yellow hue. So that's where we're going to be headed on this model. But seeing as it's the big one, I think it's the way to go first, right? Rather that Alan Henry seems to agree, and as does Craig. And we got Yuri in the chat. Hey, what's going on, Justin? Good to see you, buddy. Yeah, it will be a nightmare to do the skin after all the little bits. And like bigger areas like the boat, the anchor, you know, the chains and stuff like that, it's tempting to do first, but I think the skin tone is really gonna set sort of the overall sort of flavor of this model, and everything else is just gonna kind of accent that. So I think you're right, Alan. It's the way to go first and foremost. And I think we're gonna get to it. So far, all I've done on this model is spray can black and then some dry brush with uniform gray from the Army Painter, and then a pretty heavy white dry brush after that to kind of give us a bit of a base tone to work with. It'll be great if we want to play with any contrast paints down the line for some flavor. But mostly, I think we're gonna be going old school on this bad boy. So there's no better way to start than to get right to it. We'll grab our lovely paint water before it's had any paint. A good luck sip. And we're off to the races. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. This is a bit of an experiment, like I said. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And we're gonna get going. Let me know if there's anything in particular you want to chat about. While we're going, we can talk minis, we can talk paints, we can talk channel news. There's some fun stuff coming up this weekend. We're kicking off a brand new 3-shot adventure inside the Fistful of Neutrons universe. We can talk about that a little bit more here. Swan any good in the game? That is a great question. He is. He's a bit of a oddball model in that he's the first legendary unit introduced into the game, and as such he's beefy AF. He's got 2 different stat cards if memory serves, and much like in the Fallout games, when you whittle down his first stat card, you flip over to the next one and he mutates, right? Then the legendary enemy has mutated. Yeah, so he's a brick shithouse. He's got his anchor. I think he can do rock throw as well. It's actually been a long time since I've never used this model as Swan. I've got a 3D print knockoff behemoth that I've used as Swan in some test games, but yeah, he's a thumper. So we're gonna get going. The first brush stroke, you see I did a couple tests here on where to start, but we're gonna start with that uniform gray. So not uniform gray, British uniform, excuse me. And this is going to be sort of our base brown tone that I'm going to work into all the deepest recesses, all the areas where basically the dry brush didn't hit, right? Like these ankle joints. Also, the camera's a little... Working on this new camera too here, folks, so let me know how... well, I think it's focusing on the paints, not the model. There we go. That's more like it. So all these sort of deeper areas, we're just going to go in with the brown. And it'll look a little bit patchy at first, kind of like a bad camo paint job, but then we're gonna blend it in over time. So, cheers, friends, as we dig in to our first weekly painting stream. Let's get into it. Whoop. A little much on the brush there. What else we got? Any news on new minis, Craig Steinhoff? Well, yes and no. As as a quote-unquote content creator, I do get to know a little bit about, get to know a thing or two about a thing or two, but not the whole picture. What I can tell you is that the new wave is coming in September, so pretty soon, actually. And it is Nuka World, baby! I'm really excited for this one. To be honest, I wasn't at first. I was kind of like, oh yeah, Nuka World, whatever. But I mean, that was 6 months ago when they released it, and since my love of Raiders has only magnified. So yeah, I'm into it, especially the whole named Raiders, and what I do know about it so far, and I can only say so much, is that it's going to be a fun wave. It's the factions, what I know about them, feel Raidery in a way that's sort of different to what we've already seen so far. And on top of that, going along with Nuka World is Fallout Factions, a brand new game from Modiphius that's coming out. That I know even less about, but what I do know is that for you battle mode fans, it's the PvP experience you've been looking for. I'm really excited about it, to be quite honest. I don't know. I really don't know much else, other than it will be starting with Raiders. I honestly don't know when we're looking for release. I know that it's supposed to be in and around the Nuka World sort of vibe, but you'd think we'd have heard something if it's going to be in and around the Nuka World release. I'm suspecting it's probably going to be later, probably closer to Christmas. I have absolutely nothing to back that up. I am just pontificating at the moment. But I'm really excited about it. It's going to have sort of that Necromunda, old school Gorka Morka, 40k Crusade feel, in that you're going to develop your crew over time. You can swap guys in, swap guys out. It's a PvP experience with a real heavy narrative bent. Whereas Wasteland Warfare is kind of the opposite, right? It's a narrative game that, yeah, you can throw some PvP in there. So, very exciting. Do I think Wasteland Warfare models will be usable in factions? In fact, one of the few things I do know is that they absolutely will be. The scale will be the same, so 32, in change millimeter type deal. It's going to be sort of that true scale, not that heroic, Legion or 40k type stuff that you see. So it's all going to be compatible. It's going to take a hot minute for all of the factions to carry over. It's going to start with Raiders. It's going to be Nuka World themed. I again have nothing to back this up, but I think in its sort of earliest genesis, it was kind of designed as, oh, this is the Raider game. But it's going to feature everybody, slowly and surely over time. Similar to how we've been seeing with Wasteland Warfare. But how much of that will be available at launch, I honestly cannot say. I would be surprised if there was more than just Raiders involved. Syntax error. Heard rumors of another plastic power armor kit. Do I have any thoughts on what mark it might be? Personally, you think T51? Yeah, I have not heard anything about that. But just reading the message before I got to your guess, mine would also be T51. It would seem to make sense in that, similar to the T45, you could play it with, a number of factions, a number of, different groups. How are we doing on focus here? This is still a bit of a learning process. This is a brand new camera, which we got thanks to your amazing donations in our Level Up challenge. So thank you all so much. It's a big part of why these streams are happening. now. So thank you to everyone who donated. And a slight update on that as well. The war rig, all the pieces have arrived, which is great news. Now we're just figuring out a time when we can actually build the thing. And that is specifically going to be a live stream as well. So we're looking at next weekend, I think, is the tentative plan for when we're going to be able to fire that up. So stay tuned on that. We're going to do a live stream where we build the thing, and Raj and Grant walk me through how to build a computer, because I know nothing about this stuff. I'm this guy, right? I'm up here and I'm on here. I don't do the behind the thing. But it's going to be a fun experience. I think we're just going to hang out, you know, have a couple wobbly pops, tell some jokes, and these guys will walk me through disarming a bomb live on screen. Tanner, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for making it. Thanks for popping in. Good to see you. I'm glad you can make it live as well. Craig, do I think that Fallout Factions will replace Wasteland Warfare? No. Do I see it reaching a different and or wider audience? Yes. I think a lot of folks... I think it's really smart what they've done in that they've got these sort of two properties now under a very popular umbrella. I mean, Fallout's only getting bigger with Amazon and yada yada. So it's I think it will supplement. I think it will complement very well. We'll see what the numbers look like for how many people, you know, jump ship, whatnot. But because all the models are interchangeable, I don't see. I think the two games will have sort of their own market, and I think most people that play one will probably play the other. But responders, yeah, Justin, you would like the responders. Justin is training to be a medical professional in real life. So when Fallout 76 came out, you can guess what outfit he was running around in. I mean, to be fair, everyone was running around in that outfit because, well, it was the only one like available in the game at that point. But not the point. Not the point. What factions do I think will join Fallout Wasteland Warfare from 76? Yeah, well, there you go. Now I see why we're talking about the responders. Yeah, responders. I will be. We're gonna see some Scorched, right? At least, probably not as a playable faction, but as a creature, absolutely. What else? I mean, they'll throw. Well, I guess they've kind of already done some of the Brotherhood of Steel armors from 76 in the newest wave, in the Capital wave. But yeah, what else is a good question? Oh, there's the Blue Ridge caravan there. That could be a possibility for some minis. What else? Some Enclave type stuff. What they could really do is capitalize on like the atomic shop. If their turnaround of production wasn't so labor intensive, which I understand why it is, they could probably crank out a lot more stuff. But then again, I am not a businessman. I'm a businessman. All right, we're making progress on these shadows here, folks. As they say that, I turn the model and go, oh my god, no, we've got 16,000 more. But that's all right. We got a ways to go. Somebody wants to start taking bets now on how many streams it'll take us to paint this guy. It's gonna be a couple. It's gonna be a couple. But that's why I like this idea though, right? That, you know, together slowly over time with your input and assistance, we will paint a really cool model. Together. As a team. So we're working on the legs. I'll kind of head my way up here. I'm really mostly just sort of sketching in the deepest shadows to then sort of come in with the same color mixed with that dark green and have that be sort of our base layer, so to speak. And I'm hoping that the amount of pre-painting and underpainting I did on this will let us play with the opacity of the paints a bit to try to get some blending and, you know, really, ooh, gotta watch my hat brim on the camera there. 5 streams, you're on, Craig. I gotta paint faster. I gotta paint significantly faster. Oh yeah, there we go. That's a nice coverage, actually. And of course, now this is also tricky because I've mentioned this before. Like painting on stream like this is still a bit of a new experience for me, and it's wildly different than how I would normally paint. It's probably better. I mean, I should be painting like that, right? Like they tell you to do, but normally I'd probably be like this if nobody was watching, but this forces me to be here. Which again, is probably for the best. For my aching and aging back. Heath, how you doing? Good to see ya. 6 streams? Oh, you guys are giving me far too much credit, I think. But I appreciate the vote of confidence. And let's see how well we can do. For those just joining, like I said, I'm sketching in the deepest, darkest shadows of the skin tone. With a brown that kind of has a bit of a green tint to it to begin with. Slowly add up more and more green as we go. And I really do think that yellow is going to help out in the long run. I was honestly tempted to do some of the underpainting with, like the dry brushing with a yellow at the very end to kind of give that, like, at least in Fallout 3, the mutants have a more of a sort of yellowy hue under their skin, almost like the blood is like yellow, right? But I figured committing to a massive overbrush of yellow on this thing could go haywire. So we stuck with white, gray to white. Ooh, yeah. Man, those little details are teeny tiny. The details themselves are going to have to tell a lot of the story of what's underneath. Ooh, yeah. We're making progress. We're making progress. Just a bunch of cheap humans that possibly could run Scorch Beasts. Yep, that would work, yeah. The, yeah, some ghouls. Some more ghouls would be cool. I like the Ghoul Settler box. That's a lot of fun. Got some plans. Actually have a fun little kit bash planned for a fun video for you, all of you Fistful of Neutrons fans. It involves the Rosa Metner Preacher Mini and one of the Ghoul Settlers. So take your guess on what character I'm gonna kit bash up on that one. Do I have the stats on this mini? Yes, this is Swan. I don't have the stats handy with me, but on the handy dandy Fallout Wasteland Warfare app, I can read out to you right now his stats. It is Swan, the super mutant, the first legendary mutant in the game, and his stats are bonkers. You know, for the next stream, I'll get him up on the screen. But 3+1 strong armor, 7 hit points, 13 strength. That's about all you need to know. He stomps. He's like a regular behemoth. Well, to the nth degree. And yeah, he smacks. I've only ever played with I've never actually played with the model itself because it was unpainted up until now. But I've used the stat card in sort of test games to try him out, using just a regular behemoth. And yeah, he's strong. He's strong. He's got a bit of a tear in his... The other part I was considering painting first was the diaper as I am referring to it now. It's got some tears in it where you can actually see the skin underneath. And there's other parts that are just more diaper. And that will end up being sort of a red hue there, like we've got in our little, not concept art, box art. Just trying to paint sort of up to the gray, where I've got sort of these dark spots to hopefully let the blending do a lot of the work for us here when we get there. Should be some time from now. Swan's diaper. Heath, yes, were you one of our winners? Remind me. I just sent off the prizes yesterday. You think, or the day before? You think I would remember? That was a fun one. Yeah, for anyone who didn't tune in to the live stream on last Sunday before, really fun stuff coming up this week on our Sunday Fistful of Neutrons stream. We are headed back to Longmount, Colorado for a very special three-part mini-series, if you will. Justin laid some very interesting story beats for us a few weeks ago now, about what was happening back in Longmount while the gang was off in Kansas, and we had some offline chats, and decided to hand the baton back over to myself for a couple weeks to kind of pick up the torch from whatever nebulous situation he painted for us, for then me to be able to sort of fill in the gaps and act as a bit of a breathing room for him to work on some of the finale bits of season 2, or the last handful of story arcs, I should say, or whatever. While I get to tell a Longmount story and set a bit of some seeds for future seasons, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to get back in the overseer chair, which is fun, and Justin's gonna be taking up the role of Yuri Andropov once again, and the other guys in the gang, Grant and Raj, we'll be playing some familiar faces from back in Longmount, but we'll save it for the big day. So very excited. This Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Is that when we usually do it, Justin? 7 p.m. I can't remember right now. So that's gonna be great. I'm very excited. Hope to see some of you folks there. If you haven't caught one of our 2D20 live shows before, this is actually a great spot to jump in, because it's, like I said, it's going to be a bit of a sort of one-off, one-shotty type thing. So if you're sort of looking to get into the vibe of the story we're telling, this would be a good place to jump in. Okay, now we're getting into tricky territory here with all these ropes and skulls and things. Trying to navigate around, sort of play with where the light would kind of naturally hit with this arm in this position, which wouldn't get a whole heck of a lot of underneath. I'm already having a blast, so thank you all for tuning in. You may indeed, Heath. Oh yes, it's all coming back to me now. Yes, indeed. Heath had won our Children of Adam book, and well, I'll let Heath say it in the chat here. Heath decided to pay it forward, which is a very, very lovely thing. I gotta say, we have some pretty darn fine viewers. And everyone in this chat's not too bad either. Hey! I'm just kidding. Y'all are legit the reason we're doing any of this. I mean, I'd probably be sitting here painting all by myself on Wednesday night anyway, but hell of a lot more fun to do with y'all. Ooh, a little bit much there. We'll blend that in. That'll be fine. First real big fuck up of the mini. Woo! Got it out of the way. Yes, there you go. We're handing out the book again. So, you heard it here first, folks. There is another giveaway coming up on Sunday as well. We're going to pay that book forward, Children of Adam style. Give Adam's blessing to everyone. I would say courtesy of Bodifius, but now it's courtesy of Heath, our newest channel sponsor. Our only channel sponsor. Okay. Now, the spots in between all of this, ooh baby, all these ropes. Here we go. What even is that? So some of this stuff I look at it, I'm like, is that, like right there, is that a muscle? Is that a piece of metal? Is that, doesn't matter. We're not going to think too hard about it. Looks like part of probably the Swan or the boat. I don't know. I'm looking for, Justin, I'm looking forward to you getting back into Yuri. Very exciting. Very exciting to be going back to our roots with this story that we fired up 2 years ago, thinking, let's do a live stream, see how it goes. It is some of our most viewed content on the channel. Amazing. Dree7632. I wanted to say that as Dre, but I know you're not the doctor. What's your thoughts on Wave 10? Think will be more 76 influence or Fallout 3 aliens? Enjoy all the content. Thank you so much, Dre7632. What do I think about Wave 10? Well, we're in Wave, what's the one we just had? 8 is capital. So yes, 10 will be Nuka World. If you're just tuning in, we talked a little bit about Nuka World at the top of the cast. That's coming, I believe, starting in September. After that, I do believe we're headed to Appalachia with Fallout 76. I don't know for sure. My insider knowledge of what's coming ends right now at Wave 9. As I say that out loud, I have to think back. I'm like, wait, do I know more than I think I do? But a few months ago, if you saw my I think Fallout 76 is coming video, let's just say there's been more evidence since that. Actually, I put out that video on like a Friday morning, like 2-3, well, probably like 4 or 5 months ago now. And I think that Friday they released a new STL pack with more stuff from Fallout 76 in it. It was either like that day or like a week or two after. So it just, it's been nonstop. So all of the 3D STL packs have somewhere in there something that's like a pretty big giveaway of what we're looking at next. Now, again, I don't know for sure. I've not had, John or Chris or any of the, Big Modifius guys tell me this, but the writing's on the wall. As for what to expect, I honestly don't know. I'm not sure. Like full-on factions, it's kind of weird, right? Like, yeah, responders. I think we'll see lots of creatures, the Scorch Beast. If I had to guess, it'll probably be like a model-heavy wave rather than like a faction-heavy wave, if that makes any sense. Similar to how like there was kind of like the top-up waves when they released Into the Wasteland with all these stat cards but no models. So I think we're going to see something similar to that, where it'll be like, oh, here's a bunch of models with a bunch of stats that can be used as anything. But they're from Fallout 76. That's my guess, but I don't know. 76 Halloween or winter special. Ooh, that's fun. Oh, so are we going to see a Yuri mini, or are you planning the whole gang? I am planning the whole gang. I will tell you now. It's a project that's been burning in sort of the back of my head for a while. And mainly because I haven't known where to go with Johnny. But I think I got it now. So I'm gonna start with what I know. Because Modifius won't make us an official model range, apparently. So I guess I'll just make it myself. But yes, the whole gang will be coming, slowly but surely. And I'm going to start with Yuri because it's honestly a pretty easy kit bash. It's a head swap with some flavor in there. And I've actually already built a Nola once upon a time, and that was a complete scratch build kit bash, not even using the official Brahmin. So I might have to build another one, but we'll see. Do you have a roadmap for the 2D20 campaign, or are you just taking it season by season? Yes. Is the answer to that question. We've never had a real like, okay, well, we need to get to this thing to do this thing. It's kind of been more like, what's going to be a fun story to tell? And breaking it into seasons, kind of like how we have with like an actual TV show, has been nice in that it's let me take a bit of a break and work on some other stuff, behind the scenes of the channel, while still being able to play this super fun game and tell this really fun story. But it's let Justin tell this story that, not to talk out of class, but he, I should say, had sort of the nuggets of this Kansas campaign idea years ago, when we were playing a very offline, just a couple of buddies, Wasteland Warfare RPG game, and it just kind of settled, and we always kind of talked about, oh yeah, it would be really cool to to tell this story and yada yada yada, and then lo and behold, we started a YouTube channel, and there you go. So the short answer is not a full roadmap, season by season. But we're sort of starting to think about longer term now, what could happen, where it could go. So I don't think it'll, I think it will have its day. I think eventually, we'll want to move on and tell a different story. Maybe in the same universe, maybe keep everything sort of interconnected, because that's always a lot of fun. Who doesn't love lore in a Fallout game, right? So yeah, so we're really enjoying where it's going so far. Season 2's been a blast. Really excited for this mini campaign arc starting on Sunday. I get to jump back in the overseer's chair, so that'll be great. And I think whatever happens in this little sort of side quest, so to speak, in this DLC of our main story, I think that'll inform whatever season 3 looks like. Because the one thing we do know long term is that the story will head back to Longmount, probably, but who knows? Depending on like I said, depending on what happens at this little mini series, it could go very differently. So I'm excited to see. I've come up with a pretty cool little adventure for us, I think, and it's just really so funny the way all these things happen, because Justin just came up with this weird scene telling a story back in Longmount, and it immediately clicked for me of, oh, I can do something with this. I have an idea for this, and here we are. So we've got a general idea of the kind of story we'd like to tell, and that's about it, right? And it all just comes down to a lot of heart and the best of intentions. I think that's the best way to describe this party. They always have the best of intentions, whether or not that goes well. Well, water this down a little bit more. We're getting to a point where I think we might be able to start playing with some of the colors here, folks. There is so much skin on this mutant that is hard to get to right now. Whew. Can I do this entire project with just a Citadel layer brush? I'm thinking yes. Which is, I think, about the tiniest brush I have on in my arsenal at the moment. Been burning through a lot of smaller ones. So, trying to do the, paint with the biggest brush you can get away with technique. Which I think, for me, is kind of the sweet spot with this one. Blue Ridge Caravan, Blood Eagles. Blood Eagles is huge. Craig, good one. I didn't even think about Blood Eagles. To be honest, it's been a hot minute since I've jumped into 76. But yes, Blood Eagles would be a good one. Oh, the Shroud, Silver Shroud. Finishing up a campaign tonight. Been running since September 2001. Amazing. Tell us all about it. Who's what's the BBEG of your campaign, as it were? Is there a BBEG? Or are the players the baddies? Dun dun dun. Darks here. I'm really hoping this works out. I'm feeling good about it so far. It looks horrible and disjointed, but I think even just this next layer of sort of brown plus green going into the whites, it's gonna bring it together. Fingers crossed. Fuck. Not so worried about the head, because we are gonna give him that weird fucking clown face paint as well. Now, is that skin or is that right in there? Y'all think that's skin or something I can get away with not painting brown? No, it's part of something else. It's part of the Swan. It's not all muscly like it normally is. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe it's like a tarp or some shit underneath. Well, I can't go wrong with painting it brown now, just in case. And we can color it something else if that's not what it is. I mean, who sees the top of Swan in the game? Nobody. But as a mini, it's the thing you're gonna see first. So we'll just put some brown in there so we can play with something later. Maybe it's just ropes, maybe it's... It strikes me as like a cloth, like a tarp, canvas of some kind. Like underneath, like on top of his neck, but underneath the Swan armor? I don't know. I can always paint over it later. Yes, I can, Chip. Good man. 76 is way better now than launch. It is better than launch. When it first launched, me and Justin were all about it. It was great. It was great, man. We came over with LAN parties and the whole 9 yards. It was awesome. We loved it. I was all shooty, Rudy Tooty. Let's go shooty. He was just smash. As is real life. It's a great time. I love the shit out of it. I've never had a bad time playing the game, to be honest. Would I have liked to have had NPCs from the beginning? Sure. I'd like all kinds of things that I'm never gonna get. So, and we actually got that one. So hard to complain. Well then, we're in a bit of a spot where I think it's time to switch over to some blending with a different color. Just get a little bit more shadow in this weird... His hands are so gross. His hands are so gross. They've done a really good job of making him nasty. Actually, I'm going to get right underneath this arm here. Some of these muscles. There we go. What else is going on in the world of... Oh, well, I was going to say follow TV show, but I guess everything's in standby mode now with the strike and whatnot. I will say I've been seeing a lot more clickbaity bullshit about Fallout 5, yada yada yada, lately. It's not coming anytime soon, gang. It is coming, don't get me wrong, but Starfield's gonna be the big hit. It's going to be the thing for a while. Well, then we'll have to get back to Skyrim. Or Elder Scrolls. So, just don't believe the hype. NWA said it first. Don't believe the hype. Fallout MTG cards. Is that a real thing? And also, hello, Steve. Hello, how are you? Oh, you've painted a swan. Ah. Ended up leaving him on the shelf because I couldn't bear to pack him in the foam with the rest. Yeah, fair enough. This is going to be a bit of a display for sure. Planning some games? Yes. The plan is to get him table ready so we can get him on the table, which will be a lot of fun. And it will be, I think it's going to have to be the next installment of the Combat Zone. So Swan versus everybody. And now realizing how deadly my first Combat Zone video was. Yeah, we're gonna throw some big stuff at him. It's gonna be like monsters on monsters, which will be fun, and hordes too. We're gonna do like run like a bunch of raiders at him and see what happens, and also do some other big stuff as well, like Behemoth versus Swan, who wins? Deathclaw Matriarch versus Swan, who wins? We'll see. I mean, it could be a short combat zone. He could not be the champion for long. We shall see. We'll have to take on the current champ, the Yao Guai, first. But we'll get to that in due time. I'm bored of painting brown, so we're going to now paint brown and green. I'm going to start this cultist robes. We're going to add this kind of like a 2-to-1. Yeah, 2-to-1 I'd say. To the brown, to the British uniform, which we already have. And paint a wider surface area than we've painted with just the brown. And then we're going to repeat that process with some yellow added in, then move on to a different green, blended with our old green with some yellow mixed in. It's going to repeat the process over and over again. But first, we need to get our color mixed. Not gonna be too scientific about this. Mix two colors together. Yeah, maybe lean a little harder on the green. Well, that's just a disgusting looking color, isn't it? Oh yeah, there we go. Maybe it's more like a 2-to-1. Let's see how that works. We'll have to mix in sort of different bits of this as we go. I think subtlety is going to be the name of the game here. Slowly working our way up and up and up and up and up. And play with the opacity here too. I'm watering this down a lot for our first stroke. Let's see what happens. It's a little too similar, maybe a little too watered down. Okay. Okay. Sort of playing around the edges here, seeing how they blend. There. That's all right. That's looking a little bit more muty there, isn't it? Not too shabby. Yeah, I think we'll add a little bit more green in with that brown. Use my bigger brush. Doing well. Still working on Necrons. Oh, so many robots. You know, I was snooping. I was snooping at Necrons the other day. Cause I was, when I started getting into Warhammer back in the day, the Necrons and Dark Angels were my first armies. And I got rid of both of them, and so the Undying robots have a special place in my heart. And I know eventually I'm going to want to start another army now that the Dark Angels are done, or very near done. So I'm thinking Necrons might be the way to go, but we'll see. Okay. I was a little nervous, but testing this out. Yeah, okay. Keeping in mind that this is going to be the second of many, many, many layers. I think I'm happy with the opacity and with how it's blending in to just the solid brown. That's green. That's mutant green, baby. We're doing it. We're doing it. Gonna have to see what's up with their Codex release. Holding off on buying any more until then. Yeah, fair enough. The Codex is, yeah, I think you're right, is going to sort of really shake up the 10th edition juice. Holy smokes, guys, gals. I think this is gonna work. When you put paint on stuff, it gets painted, but if you're a fan of the channel you've been watching so far, you'll know that our sort of main vibe for you know, doing stuff is fuck it, we'll do it live. So with a model this big on technique that I've never really done on a model this large, did no idea how it was going to work out. But I think at the very least, this will give us a base tone. Excuse me. This will give us a greeny brown base tone. And if I don't go too opaque with it, we're going to keep those underpainting highlights. I'll then be able to build up and use those as the sort of guidepost for the highlights. So we'll fucking see. A little more green. Yeah, that's better. Really is not an attractive color. Baby puke green. Yummy. Yeah, making sure it's not too thick. So we're not fully covering all of those highlights. You can still make out where they're coming in. But still getting a smooth coverage. That easy trick, yes? What else is going on? What else is going on? So, what else? So I'll take a couple coats. Oh, yeah! Love it when a plan comes together. Look at that Incredible Hulk-looking foot. Not too shabby. But yeah, some other fun stuff going on the channel. Not to, talk about myself the whole time we're here, but yeah, we've got some other fun things brewing behind the scenes in the 2D20 family. But we've been hatching a plan for a while now to do a new campaign, or at least a mini series of using the Achtung Cthulhu series system from Modiphius. So that will be coming just as soon as we can get everybody virtually in one place, and it's not a Fallout stream week. So it's been we ran like a mock session 0 to familiarize ourselves with the system like 6 months ago, longer than that. And we're hankering to play. It's so much fun. But life, summertime, Raj had a baby. Things happen. What's everybody else working on as far as projects? Let me know in the chat. If you're painting something right now, that's always cool to hear. If you're working on something and you want to share some ideas, or if you're stuck like I was with this model, throw it out to the chat, and maybe we can help with your painting blocking woes. It's Wednesday today. Happy Wednesday. It's a short week here in Canada. Work week, that is. Weeks are always 7 days long. But we had our civic holiday, just an excuse for a long weekend in August, on Monday, which was lovely. I love the vibe of a short week, I gotta say. Throw in 2 live streams, a painting show and a 2D20 show. Winning. What happened to Charlie Sheen? Is he still around? All that tiger blood, it'll get you. There we go. Yeah, I saw some new Fallout show leaks the other week, right around the time of the strike. Go figure. I wonder if that was planned. Keep the hype going while everything's shut down. But it appeared to see some pre-war, like Vault-Tec type vehicles. Interesting. I'm of the theory that what we're going to see, at least at some point, probably at the beginning, is the blue flu. I believe we're going to get to see the precursor virus to the forced evolutionary virus. There's been some set photos of like a bunch of bodies and body bags and like Vault-Tec looking dudes. Like, I think we're gonna see, and maybe too soon with COVID, but I think we're gonna see like some like pandemic Vault lockdown type shit of the Fallout universe that we've not seen before. Pre-apocalypse society. I think there's gonna be all kinds of fun stuff in there from the set photos I've seen, which would be really cool, because I think that's one of the bits of Fallout lore that everybody knows but just doesn't get talked about a lot, that the forced evolutionary virus was supposed to be the cure for the virus. I think that would be a really cool thing to see play out, especially given what's happened over the last couple of years. But that's just me. And I'm here for it. I'm really excited for this show. I know, there's reason to be apprehensive of an adaptation of a video game. But I mean, this is just kind of my attitude most of the time, is to be cautiously optimistic. There we go. See? Look at that thigh there. We can really see that proof of concept on how that underpainting and then shadows are adding a lot of sort of tone and life to this guy without really doing a goddamn thing. And this is just with, like I said, baby puke brown mixed with green. So when we start building up to some other highlights and get that sort of yellow blood sort of tone going on, I'm very excited for how this model is going to turn out. And thank you all for tuning in to our very first ever weekly live stream. Where are we at time-wise? It's 6 o'clock. We'll go for, I'll say another hour. Enough to, I think by then we'll have some measurable progress on this thing. And I'm excited to share this road with y'all for the next however many sessions it takes to paint up this mini. And then we'll do another one, or another project of some kind. Maybe we'll do some kit bashing. That'd be fun. I'm getting obviously way ahead of myself because we're on the first of what will be many streams for Swan, I'm sure. But I'm looking forward to some more stuff here on the channel that I've been sort of putting off or meaning to do and, just haven't gotten around to yet. One of those being the Actung Cthulhu streams, which we're going to be firing up, I want to say by the end of the month, but August is looking pretty heavy already with stuff we're putting out, so we'll see. End of September at the very least. Maybe it'll be our fall show or something, while we do a break from Fistful of Neutrons. I'm just spitballing out loud here now. But, yeah, the last 6 months have been trying, let's say. Some less than stellar personal news and developments, which have thankfully more or less panned themselves out now, but put a bit of a damper on some pretty fun stuff that we had planned. And to say I'm quote unquote behind my production schedule would be an understatement. But the nice thing is that you fine folks have been super supportive of everything that we've been doing over the last couple of years, really, but mostly the last couple months, and it's been pretty amazing. So we're looking to pick the train back up with more and better stuff and content. So that's a long-winded way of saying thanks for sticking around. Now, the keen-eyed among you, or those who were following the YouTube mini trends over the last 6 months, may recognize this as the quote-unquote slap chop technique. It's just underpainting. It's nothing new, precisely. It is shockingly effective with contrast paints. But I say all this because, as you can see, particularly in areas like this here, hold on, focus up new camera, there we go, right by the Swan here, You can see with what we've got there, with a little bit of the brown in the shadow, just that green-brown mix, really watered down, over that gray-white overbrush, it like almost has a yellow sort of tint and hue to it already. So even without using contrast paints, just water your shit down. It's a really, really fun technique. And sorry, effective, I should say, more than fun, but it is fun. And building up some gradual layers, especially on skin tones. On like, you know, a human skin, you know, starting off with where we did the brown, like something like a really deep, you know, like magenta even, or like, yeah, you know, a deep red sort of skin tone, pink almost, like Bugman's Glow, or yeah, even going even further to like a deeper sort of crimson or violet. Or even overbrushing with that over top of the white. Been playing around with skin tones lately, and it's like anything, right? It's practice makes perfect, and practice makes better, I should say, because none of it's perfect. But damn, I will say, it's just tackling stuff you're afraid to do. I know it's easy to say and hard to do, right? But I found it so satisfying lately. Like if anyone saw the recent the Nuka-Cola painting video we put out this week, same kind of thing. I've been staring at that model and that paint job. I've wanted to do that paint job forever, right? And I've had that model just kind of sitting on my desk while I've been looking at other things. Like right here in front of me, I've got my wall of pride and then the row of shame of stuff I need to work on. And yeah, that model had just been staring at me. I knew I wanted to do a Nuka-Cola. So, fuck it, let's do it. And the motivation came from make a video about it. Make a video, this might go badly, so make a video about it. And if it goes bad, that's the video, right? Just for fun. And it was a way to sort of exorcise that demon from myself. And hopefully, you know, a little bit of, you know, motivational speaking to anyone out there who's also having, you know, delayed gratification by not tackling something that they want to do. So again, that's my long-winded way of saying this is an experiment. This is fun. If it all goes tits up, so fucking what? We had a good time with our friends. That's about all we could ask for these days. Was it perfect? No. Did you have an alright time with alright people? Yeah. Not too shabby. Oh, painting his fingernails are gonna be nasty. Make sure we get lots of scungy nastiness in there when we do them. There we go. Yeah, guys, this is coming together. Telling stories with paint and plastic. That's about all there is to it, eh? What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. Yeah, there we go. Okay. We are getting somewhere. He's looking mighty mean and mighty green. Keep on trucking. But yeah, we're gonna have, like I said, we're gonna have another giveaway on the live stream on Sunday. We've got, well, not another Children of Adam quest book, but we've got the same Children of Adam quest book that we raffled off a couple weeks ago. Because the winner, Heath, had so kindly had already purchased a copy of his own. And when he won, he decided not to hoard them, which I know I might do. But to gift it forward, so we're going to have another Winter of Adam quest book for the live stream on Sunday. And I think we might have a couple other goodies as well. The fine folks at Modifius have sent / are sending us some Wave 8 goodies. And I have a feeling it's stuff I already have. So we'll pass the savings on to you. Don't tell Modifius, but I usually buy all this stuff that they send me for free too. Which a huge thank you to the gang at Modifius for sending me this model. Without them, half the stuff you see on this channel would be much more difficult to produce. And I'd be more poor than I already am. There we go. I didn't do too good of a shading job on his little upper calves here to begin with, but that's all right. Looking back at part of this now. Okay, I thought part of his leg that I painted here, the stupid thing keeps focusing on the anchor. I thought that might have been cloth and I goofed up. It's just a weird saggy fold of his nasty thighs. Dude, skipping leg day. Bigger patches here. Chill tunes, telling stories with paint and plastic. Not too shabby. But yeah, thanks to everyone who tuned into the or watched the Forged in Fire Battle Report series over the last couple months. That was a great time. Really excited to get back into more battle reports. Seem to go in phases with us here just because they do take a long time to produce. I do enjoy them. Sort of balancing the those with the faction stuff, with the 2D20 stuff is always sort of a movable feast. So thanks to everyone who tuned into that series. I had a blast doing it. And we got another one coming up. Another Battle Report series. Another narrative one. This is going to be New Vegas focused. Return to New Vegas. In fact, the direct sequel arc of the New Vegas campaign I did. Ooh, wow, going back a year ago now. Year or two, feels like. Time is a flat circle. So that's gonna be fun. First episode's already shot. It's just a matter of cutting the thing together. And because it's a narrative game and a settlement mode campaign, it's unfortunately taken a backseat to everything else. But it is coming. I shot the first episode of it, I want to say a year ago. So that gives you an idea of how long some of this stuff actually takes to make. Now that's obviously an outlier, but, you know. It doesn't happen overnight. What with, you know, having a real job, unfortunately. Which, if anyone figures that out, how to, you know, how to still pay rent and survive while not having a real job, let me know. Let me know in the comments. Ooh, gang, she looking good. I'm happy with how this is going so far. Getting that right paint mix with the right opacity. Ooh, she's a movable target, but we've got so much more highlighting of this skin to go after this, so I guess we're okay. We're definitely okay. It's really bright points there. Looking good. Oh yeah. Ooh. Got a Renegade Fluff. Renegade Fluff. That was my nickname in high school. Just kidding. Ooh, Swan. The big boy. It's so funny when I like focus in on just like the one place I'm painting. I'm like, God, this brown green color is just disgusting. And then I zoom back out and look and I'm like, oh right, this is the most basic color on the whole thing. He's gonna pop. Painting his face is gonna be weird. I don't know how we're gonna do that sort of clown sort of look, or how hard I'll lean into that, but we will burn that bridge when we come to it. That's all cloth in there, so I'm not gonna tackle any of that, but there's a little bit of skin betwixt these ropes. Ooh, that's fine. Yeah, I'm gonna screw that up. So we're not gonna paint that. We'll let the ropes tell the story on that. It's that skin in there. Or at least skin adjacent. Well, that looks like something else. It's hard to tell. But yeah, we're already looking in a good place. Gotta go up to his face now. Nervous. A little more green into the brown. There we go. It really is an unappealing color to look at, all on its own. I'm gonna start off more watered down than I probably need to be, but it's easier to build up. Yeah, like that was barely noticeable. It's almost too, ow, God. I'm gonna have to switch up my hat situation. There we go. I keep bumping the camera. That's a little better there. But I don't want to saturate it too much off the bat. But I do want it to get some good coverage. Head too. The trickiest part so far, I gotta say, is figuring out what parts of him are body and what parts are stuff that's like inserted into his neck or, you know, anywhere else. Daka Flame, Daka Flocka Flame. How you doing, pal? Good to see ya. Thanks for tuning in. We're painting Swan. Getting between some of these ropes here. Painting mutanty skin tones. The most putrid color of nasty green we can find. as we will slowly make him greener and greener. And meaner and meaner. Taking a break from hilling potatoes. Is that a euphemism? Are you actually hilling potatoes? I mean, I guess it could be both. You could be multitasking. What'd you get up to last night? Oh, I tied a few ones on and ended up hilling potatoes, if you know what I mean. I don't know what you mean. But I could only guess. Well, good to see you, Doc of Flock of Flame. One of our newest channel subscribers and members. Thanks for tuning in the other week. I'm glad to see you coming back. Nervous about the face. Now again, in theory, we are going to be painting this with, sort of that clown sort of vibe. So I guess I don't really need to paint the skin tone on it, but it feels like cheating. And also I don't know for sure that I'm going to go so hard in the paint, quite literally, with the clown sort of makeup that the box art does. Because while he does have it in game, it's far more pronounced on the concept art, of which the model is more faithful to, if that tracks. So it's a little exaggerated in the box art, but also just sort of in the mini in general, because that's kind of, he had much more of a Joker looking kind of vibe in that concept art, which I should have had that ready for showing on stream too, but I didn't. But I figure we'll do the skin on the face at the very least, then we won't have to come back and do it later and try to color match. But it'll also probably look a little bit more even if and when we do the makeup on it. We're getting somewhere. We are getting somewhere. Not too shabby. There we go. One of the sadder, well, I mean, a lot of Fallout, lore drops tend not to be the most jovial things in the world, but do yourself a favor, if you haven't encountered any of the info in game, do yourself a favor and do some Googling on the Fallout on the Vault Wiki. It's like I say, it's a pretty melancholy tale. But worked out for him because, well, he's alive and kicking. Or at least until Soul Survivor has something to say about that. I gotta say, I was surprised. I can't remember if it was a post or something, but I saw something recently online where somebody, like, it's 2023, right? And what, Fallout 4 came out 2015? Somebody who just encountered Swan for the very first time on, like, multiple playthroughs. I was just like, what? It's what I did it by accident on, like, first day of owning the game. But that would be awesome, I have to say. Like, you're on your third or fourth playthrough, and for whatever reason, you just never ended up in Boston Common. Or you ended up there to do the Freedom Trail, but, like, not close enough to trigger the event or I don't know. Maybe you never messed with the railroad, but, like, that would be such an epic moment of playing this game for years and all of a sudden, holy shit. That would be really cool. I almost want to have that experience for myself. Well then, we've made some progress on this thing already. Those shadows really helped. The amount of underpainting will have made this, and has already made this, a significantly easier process than it would have been without any highlights underneath. And to quote our Lord and Savior, Todd Howard, it just works. These feet are looking a little splashy, so give them another very watered down layer to try to blend into those shadows again. Do another mix here. Here we go. Aha, yes, that's better consistency there. A little too thick. There we go. The old thinning your paints. Everyone will tell you to do it. No one will tell you how to do it. How much to do it. When to stop. It really is sort of the first big, wait, what the fuck does this mean? In miniature painting. Which, to this day, I'm like, yeah, okay, alright, well, this paint acts completely differently than the other one, so let's thin this down 3 times more. But these are working pretty well together. Going a little bit thicker on the green. And speaking of which, here's a very good case in point where screw thinning your paints. Go in with a thicker brush. We're going with a thicker glob. Just get some coverage on there. Move on with your day. And we're in wet blend territory anyway, so get right underneath his toes. Something really cute about painting is underneath the pads of a giant super mutant's little toesies. Can't put my finger on it, but it's rather enjoyable at the moment. Again, this is behaving a little oddly, so I'm just going to go in with just the pure green here. A little bit thicker, just to get it on there. Go. Toesies. Do the same thing. Other foot. Because it's dried a little funny. Bring in some of those greens to the top. A little bit more. And get those toes. Don't worry too much about it because we're gonna have to probably repaint over them again anyway with the base, but that was bugging me, seeing the black underneath there. Well then, we're making progress. The anchor arm still has ways to go, but mostly just the hand, really. If I can get in there, it's the most awkward spot of this whole model so far. I'm sure I'll find more awkward ones. we're cooking. A little more green. Yeah. Go. So, who's seen the Barbie movie? And is it better than Oppenheimer? And who's seen Oppenheimer? So I'm going to go see both of them this weekend, I think. And if Justin's still online, which I don't think he is, I'm still waiting for you to write that Dungeons & Dragons Barbie-themed one-shot adventure that we were supposed to run. I don't think he's here anymore. Here's the other thing you guys should know. We come up with a lot of ideas, and half of them never come off the ground. Like a Barbie-themed one-shot adventure. Some cat hairs have made their way into Swan's anchor here. The last movie you saw in theaters was Force Awakens. Sounds about right. Wait, Force Awakens, that was the final in the new trilogy. That was December 2019. I wonder what could have happened to make that the last movie you saw in theaters. I also saw that movie in theaters, and I enjoyed it. But I have been back since. I love the movies. I love going to movies by myself. I know that's some people can't deal with that. I fucking love it. I would almost, depending on the movie, I would almost rather go to it by myself. It's just there's something about it. I enjoy it. Oh, oh no, wait, you're right. Force Awakens was the first of the new movies. Oh, that's it. Well, that is some time ago. I had that backwards. No, yes, you're right. It is, what is it? Rise of Skywalker. That's the name of the last one. You were right. I am wrong. Probably won't be the first time. Last time. Not the first, not the last. That's what I was trying to say. That is some time. I think you're due for a movie watching experience. If that's your thing. D&D, most recent one. I really liked that, Chip. I enjoyed it. To be fully transparent, I was in an altered state of mind when I watched it, with particular substances that are legal here in Canada. But then again, I'm usually on those substances when I'm playing D&D as well, so the whole thing really made a lot of sense. I enjoyed the heck out of that film. Thought the characters were cool. I thought they played on a lot of really neat tropes. Yeah, there was some, there was the a lot of the rules lawyers crowd came into the movie as well. Like, oh, the druid can't actually polymorph into an owlbear, and I'm like, I don't care. It was a fucking cool scene, and it's just neat, right? If you want to get down into it, I think there is a way you can polymorph into a owlbear. But anyway, it's not important. But yeah. Devin Shipwreck, good to see you, friend. Thanks for stopping by. Cheers. Long-time friend of the channel, Devin Shipwreck. How you doing? Thanks for tuning in. You painting something today? What are you up to? Heard good things about the D&D movie. It's a good one. I would say if you're a fan of the genre, fantasy stuff, and if you've played or even aware, of some of the D&D, tropey things like bards and mimics and yada yada. It's It's a hoot and a half. All kinds of Easter eggy things without being too over the top, and I loved it. I loved it. I'm also a big Chris Pine fan. That's his name, right? Chris Pine, yeah. And not just because he's Canadian, which I think he is. But Captain Kirk, man. Loved his Captain Kirk. Yeah, if you're a fan of fantasy stuff and Dungeons and Dragons, give it a watch. My humble recommendation. Whew. Well, ladies and germs. No small feet here today. Mainly because his feet are huge. Ha ha ha. See what I did there? Wasn't there a Fallout movie or TV show in the works with Walton Goggins? That is not a rumor. That is a real life thing that is happening. I am freaking stoked for it. Walton Goggins is one of my favorite actors. I'm actually rewatching Justified right now because apparently there's a new season of Justified, which I need to see. But Walton Goggins in that is where I fell in love with Walton Goggins. And yes, he will be playing a ghoul in the TV show, which is just perfect. And it's happening. It is in sort of post-production, shutdown hell at the moment with the writer's strike. But it is coming. It is a real thing. It is in production. The director, whose name escapes me, knows the series, knows the franchise, knows the content. I don't think they're going to fuck it up. Okay, they will fuck it up. They will fuck something up for sure. But I think it's gonna be good. I'm excited. When you saw the pics of the ghoul, got excited. Yeah, looks like there's some neat practical effects. Some folks were hating on it. I thought it looked like a Fallout ghoul. I think the photo we saw was a mannequin because it was sort of rigid and there was a cigarette hanging out of its mouth and somebody was doing this might be not politically correct, but the first thing that came to mind was the Abu Ghraib photos. They were doing kind of like a hey thing, and I was like, what the fuck? I think that ghoul was a mannequin, or they put a ghoul mask on the mannequin or something. It looked like not a person to me, the way that it was positioned. But the face of it, the effect of it, I thought looked cool. Some folks are hating on it, but anything that's a practical effect, I'm a big fan of. I don't mind CGI stuff either, but yeah, I thought it looks cool. There's a couple things that are a little strange, like the main what appears to be the main character is nobody, and my thoughts on who that is a younger version of what's his name? Chris whatever, the actor. He's in this is not an interesting story, Ryan. The guy from Twin Peaks, who's in the main guy from Twin Peaks is in the show, and my absolute hunch is that the main character we see in those set photos is the flashback younger version of his character that we'll actually see in the show. A lot of people, I've seen a lot of YouTubers and whatnot, dissecting the show leaks and whatnot. Everybody seems to forget that it's a fucking story. Everyone's looking at this stuff being like, oh, well, the vaults look like this, and why do the vaults look like that? We don't know that any of the show in the timeline that we're watching will have anything to do with a vault, right? There's an NCR flag in one of the vaults. Oh, it doesn't make sense that the NCR would be in a vault in this time and this time. We don't know what time this is happening. It's gonna jump around. Any good story, right, jumps around. in a time bubble like that. We're gonna get flashbacks. We're gonna get all kinds of stuff. We're gonna see the war before, like I said earlier in the stream. I think we're gonna see the blue flu, the plague that led to the FEV virus. We're gonna see so much shit that I'm just amped. In my head, if we see half the stuff that I think we're going to see, I think it's gonna be a fucking riot. But yeah, there doesn't seem to be a lot of like leeway or grace given to the fact that like somebody had to sit down and write a story, right? And when you shoot a movie, you don't shoot it linear, and when you tell a story, you don't tell it linear. So I think there's gonna be a lot of surprises, and I'm ready to be surprised. I almost hope half the shit I think is going to happen doesn't happen, because it'll probably be cooler than whatever I can come up with. It is not my job to write Fallout games or Hollywood scripts, but I wouldn't mind if somebody gave me the chance to do either. I'm glad you're excited too, Duck of Flame. I am excited. We've got a ways to wait, but yeah, and like I say, they're probably gonna mess some stuff up, right? They're probably gonna play with some canon. They're probably gonna rewrite some interplay stuff. But now we're really getting off topic. But for me, Bethesda paid the money. Bethesda owns it. The property is 30 years old. It's 40 years old, damn near. 30 years old. If they want to rewrite shit, if they want to retcon stuff, well, the Brotherhood of Steel is in Appalachia. Okay, cool, man. Moving on with my life. It doesn't make that big a deal, which is, rewinding it all the way back, why I enjoy Wasteland Warfare so much. It's built into the rule system, guys. You don't like the way something works, or you think a rule's stupid, or you just don't like this thing or whatever, don't use it. It's right there. Oh, you don't like the Brotherhood of Steel not having access to non-named super mutants? Whatever. Change it. It's brilliant. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but, you know, coming from more structured games, I find it so refreshing. And those other games are out there. Like when I want my competitive itch, when I want my this rule list has to look like this thing, I go and I play a game of 40K, right? Or I'll play a game of Crisis Protocol or whatever. It's just different, right? There's an adaptability, there's a fluidity of the game. Now, yes, I do, not necessarily enjoy it when Bethesda takes, big licenses with something that, has already been established. But like when they retconned the creation of Jet from Myron in Fallout 2 to just being a drug that existed in the world, so still play Fallout 2. It's a great time. It takes place on a whole different part of the country. Who knows what happened, right? Maybe Myron was full of shit. He wasn't the most trustworthy character to begin with, so there's all kinds of, write the story that works for you in your head, but just don't yell at strangers on the internet about it, The Fallout fandom is passionate. I get that. Trust me, I've been saving the mean comments on my YouTube channel to prove it. Which that video will be fun, if and when we ever do it. Mean tweets, WGNR edition. Yeah, I say that, but the lion's share and the majority of folks have been unbelievably supportive and positive. That doesn't mean the assholes aren't out there. But they are few and far between, I gotta say. How's the Star Wars Legion stuff going? Any thoughts on Shatterpoint? I want to be really excited about Shatterpoint. It looks really fun. It looks like my type of game from what I've seen so far. I've been talking with a little bit when it first came out with Levi Roper, friend of the channel, LR Tabletop. Go check out his stuff if you haven't already. He's jumped right into it, and it looks like a really fun game. The minis are probably more appetizing for me than the actual gameplay itself. Not to say that it doesn't look good, but or that it doesn't look fun. I've watched a handful of battle reports, and it does look like an enjoyable skirmish game, which I like. The one thing that's probably stopped me from getting into it already is just the fact that I'm pretty skirmish game heavy already, and been experimenting with more army game stuff, getting back into 40K. But I am looking at getting into the starter set eventually, for the minis, because they do look like a lot of fun to paint. But I've held off so far because, well, one, I've had a lot of projects on the go lately, and also the fact that the minis aren't compatible with Legion is kind of got me a little bit of a sour taste, just because I sort of just got into Legion. Just kind of got, two sort of forces built up and painted and play like, an actual 800-point game. And then another new game that's the same universe but not compatible. So you gotta go and buy the minis. I'm like, okay. Can't really afford that right now. On top of, having a lot of stuff to do, and trying not to buy more than I can foreseeably handle over the next little while. But all of that said, the minis look so cool, and I'm very jealous, and I want to paint them. But gosh, not enough time in the day. The Swan on the go here. A handful of video projects that need attention. Finishing off the Dark Angels army. Whole whack of Call to Arms miniatures which need to get built for the new series, for the new season/series of that, for more Skyrim stuff. There's a lot on the miniature plate right now. And that is my long-winded way of saying I've not jumped into Shatterpoint yet, but it's coming. I like the scale. Chip enjoyed Fallout 2, kind of like the third-person style. Me too, man. I'm a huge 2 fan. Number 1's probably, of the vintage games, still probably my favorite. But maybe just for nostalgia reasons. But 2 is far and away, by, any metric, the superior game. And if you folks aren't following, Tim Kaine of Fallout fame. No, sorry, not Tim Kaine. The other guy. Not Tim Kaine. Very much not Tim Kaine. Somebody help me out. The YouTube channel. One moment. I'm going to have to figure this out because... Oh, why is it driving me nuts? The guy who made the entire game. Holy shit, Ryan, why is your brain not working? I'll find it before the end of the stream and share it, but he's been going through on YouTube and sharing and talking about the development of Fallout and specifically Fallout 1 and Fallout 2. I gotta find it now. I've gone completely on a tangent. It is Tim Kaine. God, okay. I will put it in the... Brian Fargo was who I was thinking. It's not. It is Tim Kaine. It's not Brian Fargo. Here is the link. Go check out Tim Kaine's YouTube channel. He talks about the behind the scenes stuff, how it got made, what it was all about, how Fallout 2 became a very different beast. Long story short, nobody believed in this game. And they did it anyway. And then they believed in it a lot. So much so that they forced a sequel. Which is a very good game, but was not made by Tim Kaine. Anyway, go check it out. It's a good time. Chip, wow, I didn't see the super thanks there. Thank you, good friend. Much appreciated. We don't do it for the bucks, but they do not hurt. A fine, fine thing you've done. Thank you, sir. We do appreciate it. It keeps the lights on, and so we can do cool stuff like this, like more shows and more streams. So thank you. But I think, gang, we're just going to do another quick pass on the face with that greeny brown mixture. Very, very watered down, just because some of it's a little whiter than I would like. Also my nickname in high school, a little whiter than I would like. Once we're done that, I think we're gonna call it a successful stream. Oh, I just noticed a spot I missed, which I'm sure I will do many times between now and next week. And the urge to not paint this thing while you guys aren't watching, it's going to be extreme. Oh, and I noticed a whole spot that I missed on the arm. But I endeavor, and I promise you now, pinky swear, triple stamp and double stamp, no brush shall touch this model between now and next Wednesday. This is our project. This is something we're doing together. I can't thank y'all enough for jumping in on our inaugural stream of our weekly workshop, Wednesdays, hobby hangouts, whatever we decide to officially name it. Because everything needs to have a thing, you know? Everything needs to have a name for the algorithm. Also, I'm just a big fan of alliteration, so. And with that, guys and gals, we have ourselves a base layer skin tone on Swan the Super Mutant. Got some shadows built right in. Got a good spot here where we can start layering up. We're gonna try to bring him more to that Fallout 3 Super Mutant vibe. A little bit less than like what we've got on the box art there. A little bit more of that early Bethesda yellow, fox game art, which, if you look back at Fallout 3 stuff in particular, those mutants aren't green; they are yellow. They are very yellow with some green undertones, and then they kind of went the whole opposite direction in Fallout 4, and they're green brown. So we're gonna do something a little bit in between, but we're gonna lean harder on the yellow because Fallout 3's. It's my magnum opus. It's the one I love. But we are in a real great spot here, gang. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We're just about at 2 hours. Thank you, Chip, for the donation. That's amazing. Super thanks. Go a long, long, long way. Thank you, Daka Flocka Flame, for tuning in. Thank you, JRE7632. Chip, again, Devon Shipwreck. Always a pleasure to see you. See ya in the chat. Oh gosh, who else we had? We had Steve coming in talking Necrons, Craig, Tanner, Heath. It just goes on and on. Syntax error. Thank you for coming in. 7.5 streams with 7 syntax errors. Guess for how long this might take, and that might be right on the money. We shall see, but we've got a bass tone down. We're going to be back with more painting streams next Wednesday. We'll aim for the same time-ish, 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. But before that, we're going to be live again on Sunday. This Sunday for the first episode of a 3-part series in the Fistful of Neutrons universe, known officially as Home on the Rage. It will deal with some super mutants and our good friends back in Longmount as they have some mutated dealings to deal with. But we'll talk a bit more of that on Sunday when the show gets going. But thank you all so much for hanging out. Like I said, tune in on Sunday if you're able. If you haven't seen it yet, check out the Nuka-Cola painting video that we did on Monday. And that was a great time too. Really fun, super quick video. Less of a tutorial, more of a, hey, let's just paint a mini and see what happens. But if you follow those steps, you will end up with a Nuka-Cola set of power armor. So thank you all so much. We're going to leave it there for today. Sunday, we'll see you 7 o'clock Eastern. And a week from now, Wednesday, for more painting fun. So adios, muchachos. We'll see ya on Sunday. Have a good one. Bye.